Kia ora and good morning. Welcome to Winning Wednesday. I am Helen Brahms coming to you live from Sun City in Arizona. Hope you're all having a super fantastic, sparkling start to the day. I have had an incredible start to the morning. So I am already calling my win for the day. So today is Winning Wednesday. What wins are you celebrating this week? I am celebrating the fact that I had a desire to write this morning. Normally, I do journaling at the end of the day at the same time as my devotion time, and I write, in my little notebook here, some thoughts and stuff about the day for when I do the lives and things. But this morning, I actually had an urge, because it was so quiet, I had an urge to go and just write. And I haven't had an urge to do that in ages. And so I made my my cuppa this morning. So this is what I wrote down. Starting the day right with a cuppa, a pen, a journal, and my thoughts in the stillness of the morning, because I had no ACs on overnight, because it was cool enough that I didn't need the ACs on, which is awesome. So you have that nice stillness. You get up and you just hear the slight whir of the fan as it's going. I had the blinds over the sink open so I could look at, even though east is this side, I have a house on this side, so I can't see the eastern sky. But I look to the west and I can see the sun hitting the clouds in the morning. And so I was able to look out the window from my seat here where I was doing my writing and watch the sun hitting the clouds in the sky and everything, and just waking up with the dawn this morning, a cuppa in hand, a pen and paper, my thoughts, watching the sunrise and listening to the sounds around us as the world woke up. And I wrote down, and that's what I call a winning start to the day. So, starting the day right with a cuppa, a pen, a journal, and my thoughts in the stillness of the morning, watching the sunrise and listening to the sounds around us as the world wakes up. That's what I call a winning start to the day. And it just sort of like eases you into the day. And like I said, I have not had the urge to sit and write creatively for a while. And I came out this morning and made my cuppa, and I went to sit down. I thought, I need pen and paper. I just need to write. And I didn't get a lot of time to write. But, I thought, I'm probably going to start getting up a little earlier and just sitting here in the morning, again, watching the world wake up with my cuppa, my pen, and my journal, and just write. And I thought, if I get up a little earlier, I get longer to write, because I hate it when I get into the flow, but because of the time constraints in the morning, I then have to stop doing that so I can go get showered, dressed, take the dog for a walk, and all of that sort of stuff. So I'm actually going to start getting up even earlier. So I wake up at 5, but I sometimes don't get out of bed till like around 5:30, 6 o'clock. So I figured I'm just going to wake up, and when I wake up, I'm going to get up and not laze in the bed for a little bit, because most of the time I just lay there and just watch as if he's sleeping, even though it's dark. But I reach over and give her scratches and that sort of thing. So it's just a nice way to wake up. And her fur is so soft and silky right now after her grooming the other day. And so it's just sort of like, and I'm now out of the doghouse too. I was in the doghouse because I had taken her to be groomed, and but I'm now out of the doghouse, so she kind of like snuggles up a little more. So it's just taking that morning, and of course in that stillness in the morning when I'm laying there, just stroking Zeffy in the morning, I'm also thinking, what am I grateful for this morning? So starting my day with a grateful heart, and then I get up, come out, make a cuppa. I'm still going to go have breakfast. I haven't done that yet. Breakfast is after the morning rush, which kind of inspired this morning's question of the day. When I was writing, I actually wrote it down in my little musings journal, and I wrote down the question of, like, I was thinking back to when we used to get ready for school, we used to walk to school. We always walked to school. That was the thing. In New Zealand, the buses to take you to school were for only if you lived outside the town or city limits where the school was. So if you were in the rural area, they would pick you up by bus and bring you in. If you lived within the city boundaries, you walked to school unless your parents were going to take you to school in the car. It was as simple as that. There was we didn't have school buses. I've been over here, and you watch the kids get down to the corners in the morning to get on the school buses and all go off to school and all of that sort of thing. And some of them I can understand because of the distance to get to and from the school. And then there's the parents that are always driving their kids to school and that sort of stuff. But I missed them. I loved the mornings of walking to school. Yes, some of them were freezing cold. Walked to school on snow one morning. It had rained, it had snowed the night before, and got to walk through the little dusting of snow that there was. That was my first interaction with snow. I was 6. And we were all the way down in Invercargill, and remember the night before, Mum was standing at Dad had come in from his shift. He was a fireman. He had come in home from his shift, and Mum had given him his dinner and was cutting some bread to give to him with his dinner as well. And she looks out the window, and I remember her, and us kids are there in our PJs getting ready for bed and all that sort of stuff. And she goes, "What's that white stuff on the fence?" And she's looking out the kitchen window, and all of a sudden she goes, "Oh, it's snowing." And and my brother and I look at each other and go, "Snow? What's that?" And so they took us over to the ranch slider, or the sliding door, opened the sliding door so we could go out on the back porch area. And sure enough, there were these white flake things coming out of the sky, and it was really cool. And then the next morning it had kind of like iced over. There was just this little dusting around. But I remember seeing it laying on the grass, and I put my foot down in the through the snow to make a footprint, and then lifted it straight up. And and you could see clearly where my footprint had been, and I kind of looked down in this little footprint area that I had made, and the blades of grass were holding up the other layer of snow that was around it. So it was kind of cool, and I still remember that image to this day. I was 6 at the time, so that was a while ago. But it was such a really cool experience. And but our mornings were not rushed to get to school. I think because my mum had everything worked out, that she got us up in time. As we got into the teenage years, it got a little harder to get us out of beds in the morning, especially on cold mornings, because we don't have central heating in New Zealand. If you're cold, you put more blankets on the bed. If you're hot, you open up the bedroom window and let the air in and take the blankets off. It's a very simple system. But our mornings were nice and sedate, and I always got to school on time. Was very rarely was I late. I was late when I was 6 because I'd seen a friend of mine get hit by a car on our way to school. We'd stopped at a dairy so we could pick up something for his lunch, and we came out. We looked both ways. He was slightly ahead of me. There was no traffic coming. He steps out, and the dairy was sitting on. Dairy's like a 7-Eleven. Was sitting on the corner there, and this car comes around and runs through the stop sign and hits him. And so he got taken off to hospital and all of that. And then one of the other mothers from the school saw me and so came and took me to school. But I was late to school after that because I would stop at this main road and look to see. And if I saw a car coming way in the distance and I had more than enough time to cross, I'd go across, come back and go back again. I would stand there and wait till that car had gone across. So it was very interesting how that actually affected me. And it still kind of affects me today with all my driving and everything else. I'm a little more patient, a little more cautious in things. But yeah, so that was the only times that I was really late for school. Apart from that, we were always out the door on time, got to school with plenty of time. There were friends I would stop and pick up on the way to school at their place, and they were never ready. I would get there. They would never, ever be ready. And it would be like 10 to 15 minutes before we left their house to get to school. So they were always rushing around and everything else. And I'm just like standing there like, well, I'm ready. Why are you not ready? I couldn't understand that. So when you were getting ready for school, were your mornings rushed to get out the door on time to get to school? Or were you more a sedate pace that you got to school in plenty of time, able to go to your lockers, put your bags away, that sort of stuff, grab your books, go to your homeroom? Well, of course, that was high school time by that point. Were you there in plenty of time for the start of the day? So talk about your morning. So in your journal where you're writing down your story, talk about what your school mornings were like. Were they rushed, or were they more of a sedate pace that you were able to get to school on time, and there was no rushing around and having to shovel down breakfast? My mum would make us, in the wintertime, make us porridge. Oh, I love porridge. And we had time to sit and eat a nice, hot, healthy breakfast. Well, I don't know if the brown sugar on top was healthy, but anyway. But the porridge would stick to your ribs and keep you satisfied until it was time for break or lunch and that sort of stuff. So anyway, I'm out of here. I got to go. I've got my accountability call today, which I love my weekly accountability calls. But so this morning for me, it's already a win for the day, is the actually being able to sit down and just write. And just having that urge to sit and write. So there was a couple of creative things that came out during that, which I will go back and explore later. But for now, I really enjoyed my morning. So go out, have a super fantastic, sparkling, winning Wednesday. Don't forget to celebrate your wins from the week, because when you celebrate the wins, they are the ones that you remember the most and have the most impact on you. And that winning feeling stays with you as you start working towards the next goal that you want to get accomplished and done. So go out, have a super fantastic sparkling day, and we'll catch you back here around 6 p.m. this evening. Hei konara.